You might not want your kids to hear this stuff. This stuff's dark stuff. But this is the president's son, the Daily Mail reports. Naked Hunter Biden filmed himself smoking crack, drinking hard seltzer, and you can do it himself.
You can
just say that.
You can read it yourself at home.
Yeah, while floating inside a sensory deprivation tank 1 month after convincing Dad Joe to wire him $20,000 for his detox program. The first family, the son of the president. These videos are coming out because the laptop got released, and the stuff we're learning about this family is dark. It's bad stuff. Mm-hmm. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And in my personal opinion, I think Joe Biden was abusive towards his kids, because you don't turn out like Hunter Biden unless you had bad parents doing something. Mm-hmm. Bad family. You take a look at how Hunter Biden turned out, and then you have to ask yourself about the leadership capabilities of Joe Biden, and then you look at the country and you start to put it together, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know, what your thoughts are on all this stuff. More of this is going to keep coming out. I think it absolutely is indicative of who the Democrats are willing to elect, regardless of their moral character and of the leadership capabilities of the man himself.
That is the point right there. We knew there were problems. This is not news to a lot of people. I was following this before the 2020 election. I knew a lot of this before the 2020 election. And the fact that the media kept that, the corporate media bosses kept that from making its way to the people so they could make an educated vote and decision when they went to vote.
Look at Twitter.
But there were a lot of Democrats who probably knew that and said they didn't like Trump, so they so wanted to get President Trump out that they were willing to vote for someone like that.
The reality is, Trump has done bad stuff. He's said mean things. He called Stormy Daniels horse face. Didn't he call someone a fat pig or something like that?
Rosie O'Donnell.
Only Rosie O'Donnell. That's right. I remember that from the debate. Rosie O'Donnell.
But here's the issue: the overwhelming majority of the bad things they claimed Trump did, they made up. They fabricated it. So
I just don't want to get distracted by Donald Trump when we're talking about the Biden family.
Yeah.
Biden family is its own thing that's pretty horrific when you start to dig it open.
Agreed. My point is just we had an election in 2020, and it was between Trump and it was between Biden. And what the Biden voters are going to say is, you expected me to vote for Trump?
Yes.
He called white supremacists very fine people, which he never actually did. Exactly. And so they believe the lies about Trump. They believe the lies about people like Kyle Rittenhouse. I tweeted that the Kyle Rittenhouse thing was put me over the edge to vote for Trump, because I saw how they're trying to destroy this guy, and we needed to push back and stop this. And that was and Trump pinned it to his profile on Twitter. And that was used by many on the left to accuse me of being wrong or being right wing or whatever, or far right. But I was correct.
When in fact, you actually had the courage to stand up and say the truth about a young man who was being persecuted. And exactly. They wanted to tear you apart and destroy you. And when that happened to you, you probably went, ooh, I think I know a little bit what it must be like to be President Trump right now. I'm feeling that myself because I'm being attacked right now. And
you're getting 1/50th of it.
Exactly. I talked to President Trump regularly, and I said, I know I'm getting the Trump treatment right now. And, you said he's done some bad things. I don't think he has. I disagree with you on that. I think he's done some amazing things. His family, I know them. They're incredible people. But the media has been tearing them apart relentlessly since 2015, 2016. And some people have just bought into that because they still believe the media. And what I want to tell people after working in it for 30 years is turn it off. Do not believe it. They've got an agenda and you just can't believe it. I mean, honestly, I'm getting better information here at Timcast. You're putting out, I'm listening to you before this show, and you're very thoughtful on what you're putting out and making sure things are accurate. We're not all perfect. Sometimes you make a mistake. I'm watching you, and after working 30 years in TV and in journalism, I'm thinking this is more journalism than what I was seeing in journalism the last at least 5-6 years.
I will say, to clarify my point on Trump, I think Trump is great. I think I can understand why people don't like his character. I tell these stories. I've talked to regular people, say they don't like the way he talks, but I know a lot of people do like the way he talks. And the way I saw it was we needed someone to fight back, especially with the media lying about people like Kyle Rittenhouse. Mm-hmm. But no one's perfect.
We needed a brash New Yorker to come in. Remember, he beat back 18 other Republicans, many of them rhinos, establishment swamp creatures. We needed a tough, brash New Yorker who told it like it was. We couldn't get some mealy mouth person to do that. And thank God he came in at that point.
But there are things that Trump, here's what I want to say. What Joe Biden is, I view him as corrupt. I view Trump as having done bad things as either mistakes or making bad decisions. People are allowed to make mistakes. People are allowed to make bad decisions. You criticize them for it and say, do better. There's things about Donald Trump that I personally don't like, but for the most part, I think he's a good guy. I think he was actually a really great president. I don't like some of his foreign policy decisions, but I overwhelmingly like his foreign policy. So commando raid potentially killed a little girl, an American citizen. That's what we've heard. I would like to see an inquiry into that. Getting our troops out of the Middle East was the first president in my lifetime who not only did not start a war, but was actually ending wars. So for that, here's what I want to be careful of. If you come out and you're just like, Trump is the best, he's so good, then people who have questions about things he's done, they close down. But I also don't want to play this game where it's like, oh, Trump was so awful, when the reality is, oh yeah, it wasn't perfect. He did some things that I think were questionable, wrong, or just bad. But Joe Biden is
Despicable.
100-fold.
Yeah.
100-fold
I think,
worse.
what you're saying is you're trying to say, hey, Trump wasn't perfect. We're all humans. But Joe Biden is not just imperfect. He is corrupt.
Malicious.